Today we have Cilantro. What's good, brother?
Chilling, man, chilling. Just another day in LA, trying to make a living out here.
I appreciate you being here, bro.
Oh, of course, man. Happy to be here.
Yeah, dude. It's you reached out to me and you hit me with a bunch of good questions,
Yeah,
and that sparked this idea to do this pod.
right.
You're a dope photographer, dope creative.
Yeah, up and coming, trying to do stuff, right? And I'm looking at you, who's someone who has done stuff, right? Is doing things. And I'm just like, man, just trying to figure it out.
Let's
All
dive
right,
into
man.
it, bro.
Yeah, let's dive into it. All right, let me look at my pre-written questions. All right, so lately I've kind of hit a ceiling when it comes to certain levels of work or clientele. And there's definitely a really big change in the difference between your medium level sets to your big level sets are really big. And I feel like a lot of it kind of does happen in the pre-production. But so my question is, when have you hit those ceilings? How did you kind of get past those? Let's say, okay, you're working on projects that have a budget of 10 to 20,000, and all
Got
of a
it.
sudden you want to work on budgets of 75 to 150.
Got it. Okay. When I was starting out, this is like 18 to 22 years old. I was doing a lot of low budget things, a lot of free things. I was shooting concerts, behind the scenes videos. I was like doing really low budget music videos. Sometimes I'd lose money on them, and I was investing. But basically, what happened was I got in this cycle for like 4 years of doing things at a certain level that only I was familiar with, right? I
Right.
hadn't seen what that next level of music video or project looked like. I was stuck in this level of like a few $1,000s, like not even a few $100s to a
Right.
couple $1,000 budgets. I didn't know what $100,000 video looked like. I didn't know what a $250,000. I've never been on those sets.
Right.
And so the first step I had to take was getting exposure to those sets, because I quickly realized, like, in order to be involved in a larger production, you're going to need more resources. You need a larger team. You obviously need more money, but you have to understand how the ecosystem works. So when I was like 22, I had to put my ego aside and tell myself, I'm not at the level I want to be at. I'm not even close to doing those kind of productions or running those kind of productions.
Right.
I need to learn, right? So, and by the way, this is just one. I'm going to just tell you one avenue, and then I'll kind of translate it to how you can apply it, right?
Okay.
So for me, I basically started working with different production companies, PAing on sets. So I would go on sets. I'd tell them, I'll do anything. I don't care how much you pay me. You could pay me nothing. You could pay me $100. I don't care. I just want to be on this set and I want to learn. I want to see what the director's doing. I want to see what the producers are doing. I want to see what the DP's doing, and I'll do whatever the fuck you want me to do. I'll go get you your coffees. I'll go fucking wipe your shoes. I'll freaking massage your shoulders or
Right.
walk
Right.
your dog. Anyways,
Yeah.
my point is, I went out to create value for these people. I went out to create value for directors. I went out to create value for production companies, for producers. And in return, the value they provided me was learning the ecosystem of how a larger production works, right? So I was then starting to get on productions that had large budgets, 500,000, 200,000, 300,000. A lot of these are music videos, some commercials as well.
Right.
And I was able to see, okay, this is what the director does. The director is not always the vocal one sometimes, but that's why there's a first AD who sometimes handles a lot of the communication.
Love a good first AD.
Love a good first AD. They're communicators. They help you with your scheduling. They help keep things on track. They're like the backbone to a shoot. But then this is what a producer does. And the producer has a PM and also a production coordinator. Oh, and then this is what a DP does. So a DP is not always going to operate the camera. There's also a camera operator. There might be a Steadicam operator. There's a first AC, second AC. I was shocked at how many roles there were on a production.
Yeah, the levels to it.
There's a lot of levels. And bro, when I was doing like $500 videos, the only level was me and a camera and maybe my friend.
Yeah, you, me, and I.
You, me, and I, right?
Yeah.
I didn't even know how to properly like light a set. I didn't know anything about diffusion. I didn't know anything, dude. I was just winging it. And back then, there weren't a lot of tutorials. There weren't a lot of there's no TikTok. People weren't posting things on Instagram like that. It was just YouTube. And YouTube didn't have all this free information that does today. So I just had to basically expose myself to learn. In order to level up, there's a few things you can do, okay? Especially when you hit a ceiling. The first thing, you've probably been told this before, is find mentorship or shadow someone who can consistently bring you on to jobs, who can consistently bring you into the room with certain clients, certain people. It doesn't matter how old you are. You can be fucking 25, 35, 40. It doesn't matter. You should not have ego get in the way of yourself asking for mentorship. It doesn't matter where you are in your career. It doesn't matter how old you are. If you don't have enough humility to ask for a mentor, you do not deserve to see success.
Ego is probably one of the biggest things I've seen make or break people in the industry.
For sure. For sure, right? So, step 1, find mentorship. Again, for me, I didn't necessarily shadow a director, but I shadowed I was, like, under a production company for a while. I worked with them a lot, and through working with them, they saw opportunities for me. The production company had a big Rolodex of clients. So, they're able to say, "Okay, we have a really small job. Rod, do you wanna do it? Do you wanna direct this? You wanna shoot this? It's $5,000." To me, $5,000 was crazy. I'm like, "Dude, heck yeah, I'll take that," you
Yeah,
know?
especially coming up from the lower ones.
Of course, to me, $5,000 is everything, you know? And so I was like, heck yeah, I'll do it. Hey, we have a job for 10,000. And then you do well on each job, and then it gets bigger and bigger. So that my avenue was like building trust with the production company, leveraging their contacts, relationships, and ultimately I help them make more money too, right?
What was the first kinda bigger production video you did that kinda felt like solidified you getting into that space?
I had a goal in like 2017 or 2016. My goal was I want to do a major label music video, right? And so there were a couple different ones. One of them was, like, a video I did for Dioro. Remember the song? "This right here is my type of party."
Yeah, that was a moment. That was a moment for
I did
sure.
I did a video that was one of my first label jobs, and I love that video still. 10,000, 15,000 bucks, and then I started working with Tyga when he was really, kinda, like, revamping his brand. This is
Right.
after Rack City. So he had like the Rack City era, and then there was
Yeah.
like the Taste era, and I caught into the second wave of like the Taste era,
Yeah.
and he was doing like a lot of low budget things, and I was just there, and I was in the production company, had the relationship with him,
Right.
so I was able to leverage that, and I told them, look, I don't care about the money. I just want to work with a dope artist. I like his music. I think he was a great person, and so for me, those early relationships and early opportunities kind of blossomed. It always grows. If you can crush something at a certain budget level and someone else sees it, they'll come to you with that similar level, and then it kinda like it almost like piggybacks off one another. You're creating a proof of concept.
Yeah.
My proof of concept is, you see that video? That was 10,000. You see that video? That was 20,000. You see that video? That was 100,000. That's my proof of concept. You hire
Mhm.
me for this, you're gonna get something like this. For you, in photography, it's a little different
Mhm.
because your main focus is, I know you want to film and all this stuff, but what's your main thing right now? Like, what do you mainly wanna
Finding clients that can consistently pay a day rate without really having trying to haggle over it.
photo clients, right?
Photo and or video.
Okay,
I've kinda, weirdly enough, kept the same day rate for both, which
okay.
is not I would not recommend that. This is just a weird lane I've taken up, and I haven't really been able to differentiate myself and figure out how to do usage rights. I mean, honestly, I've been paid more for photos than any of the video stuff I've been.
Are they paying
Um,
you usage too?
on the bigger ones, yeah. But,
And
a lot of times, if you're not writing that into your contract, you're not getting it, you know?
it's kinda like the wild, wild west with usage and, like, royalties and licensing. It's kinda weird. There's not really rules, and everybody
Yeah,
everybody has their own rate, but the way you can increase that is to just create leverage, and the way you create leverage is by having a portfolio that's, like, undeniable. Your portfolio needs to be undeniable, you
yeah.
know?
Portfolio is actually a really big thing. I don't know who else has this problem, but out of the thousands of photos and hundreds of campaigns I've done, I don't I couldn't give you a top 6. When you first land on someone's page, right? The top 6 photos that you see, more or less judge you very much heavily on those.
Yeah.
What's your style? How good are you? What are you doing? I don't know what I'd be able to pick, you know?
Because you're not happy with them, or
There's so much range of diversity, and I haven't necessarily picked a style that I would love to stick with because they're all me.
so I think, like, this part is twofold, okay? I think, 1, have you ever even, like, been on shoots with, like, really crazy photographers or, like,
I haven't. I haven't.
okay, so I feel like the first thing for you is to, I mean, dude, honestly, find photographers or even, like, filmmakers you like,
Yeah.
and just tell them you'll come help them out for free.
Yeah.
I wanna help you whatever you need. Don't make it about you.
No, of
The
course.
number
Yeah.
one thing, or the number one, like, thing I don't recommend for people who want to, like, shadow someone is they say, "Hey, I wanna come learn, and I wanna do this for myself, and
Yeah.
I'm looking for opportunities for me." It's not about you. These people only care about themselves. It's
I mean, it's
truth.
hard. Look, it's hard enough getting through life as it is, doing everything else we do, and there's so many distractions.
Yeah,
Good help is hard to come by, and people are definitely always looking for that. So I definitely agree with that.
right. So reach out to them and just be like, you gotta kinda start with a little compliment, love to help you any way you can. I'm available any day of the week, anytime, any whatever you need, I'll be there.
Yeah.
Those are the type of people that I like to bring on, right? If you send
Yeah.
me that, if you email me that or DM me that, 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna say, fuck yeah, come to my next shoot. I just
Yeah.
happened the other week. I had these guys reach out. They moved here from Atlanta. They wanted to come onto my shoot. They're like, hey, we'll shoot BTS for you. Whatever you need, we'll be there. I was like, please. This was the day before my shoot. I said, come to my set tomorrow. They came to my set and now I'm hiring them for other jobs. I
That's
just brought
dope.
them onto other jobs. I'm paying them. Now they're learning from me. And like,
Yeah.
put your ego aside, hit up people for help. That's one way to break that ceiling. The second thing to do though is to identify what your voice is and what your style is. Okay. The fact that you can't find 6 things that represent your voice, that's a problem. It's not bad, but it means that you are a photographer for hire and you're not a
Mm.
photographer with your own vision.
I would say my biggest mistake over the last 4 years was that I stopped doing personal work. I stopped doing work for me. If I wasn't getting paid for it, I wasn't gonna do it. That was really tough. And so since I've been fully freelance last 2 years, it's literally taken all that time for me to, instead of learning how to tell other people's stories, I'm learning how to tell my own story and figure out what I want out of that. So that's definitely been a big whole journey of mine for sure. And you clocked that instantly.
You have to do it. I spent like 7 years not doing anything for myself. All I did for 7 years was jobs for other people. That burned me the fuck out, dude. And in 2022, I told myself, if I don't change this now, I need to just quit straight up because it's killing me. It's like destroying my soul. And so I started creating little passion projects for myself. I was writing more. I was doing things that like excited me and it completely gave me like a whole new life in this industry. And you're going to break that ceiling when you're doing cool shit for yourself. You will. You don't know how many like young up and coming filmmakers and photographers I've seen who get huge opportunities off of like one thing they post on Instagram that's just like extremely unique in their voice.
That definitely tracks. That definitely tracks. I think recently I kind of saw something like that happen on Instagram. Photographer posted a Tron inspired photo shoot. And then algorithm brought me back a couple months later. He took the press red carpet premiere photos for all the Tron actors.
Nuts.
Basically same set, same concept. Someone saw that from the PR agency team, was like, "Yo, we need that."
It's the same thing with the Williams twins.
Yep.
You see the
Yep.
Puma
Yeah. Yeah.
thing?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Now, I was working with Jabari like for like a few years ago, and it's just seeing what they've done with it's cool, because it's tough. It's tough out there, and they had to take things into their own hands, and it's done really well for them.
For those who don't know, the Williams twins are these guys, and they basically were models, and they were kind of fed up, I guess, with the modeling industry, or they wanted to become creatives, right?
Look, you don't have a lot of power when you're a model, and a lot of times your agent is not your friend, and they don't want, they'd have issues where, right, like they have really beautiful locks, right? And their agent wanted them to cut their hair off, saying they get more gigs, and that was more of a European look, right? And someone from that same agency had very long hair, cut their hair, got no gigs booked, and now, bro, he quit modeling.
So these guys basically said, "Fuck this, we're gonna do things our way." They started making specs, and
Yeah,
they made a few specs, but the most recent one was a Puma spec.
yeah.
And then ASAP Rocky saw this spec, and he's like, "Yo, I want you to shoot the next Puma campaign for me." And that's literally the way to go. You know,
Literally, yeah, and it's cool. They also got the influencer route going. They got the numbers. They got views on their own page. That's really important
it's
for brands
valuable.
these days. Things are gone a lot more niche these days.
Niche and like personal brand. I hate that word. I hate that phrase. Personal brand is so tacky to me. But in a way, it's kind of true. Everybody in one way, shape, or form does have some sort of personal brand. It doesn't mean that you need to be like a talking head influencer and tell people and sell courses. That's not what a personal brand is. A personal brand is simply what is your identity on social media and what does that reflect into your work, right?
Yeah,
These guys are models, they're good looking, they have cool hair, and also they're creatives. That's their personal brand. Your personal brand is you're a photographer slash videographer. You work with different brands, a lot of fashion. Now you just got to kind of dial that in a little bit more and
hmm
maybe add in some of your own flavor.
exactly. So that's why working on all the personal projects, but all that stuff takes funding. Way cheaper to do photo shoots than video than short film, for
That's
sure.
true. That's true.
All right, so my biggest problem is I do not like bringing on people to shoots and hitting up people, asking them to bring them on to shoots if I can't pay their full day rate or, whatever they want or something reasonable. And it's been really, really hard for me to build out a crew of people consistently that I can work with. I don't know. I haven't really been able to find a solid crew of all the positions. I don't have a good producer. I don't have a good first AD. How did you go about your process of building your core team?
I had the same shame as you. We have shame to ask for favors. We have pride, right? You hate asking for favors all the
Yeah.
time because you feel like people have a certain worth and you have value and you don't want to offend
Yeah, like,
anyone.
I know their worth. I wanna pay them their full worth, and it's a lot of times the budget isn't fully there.
I think the best thing that has worked for me is straight up honesty. I'll literally approach anyone, even a producer or that I really like, or a DP or a colorist. I'll say, listen, we don't have the budget for this. We don't have the means. I want to pay you as much as possible. I love your work. This is my vision. I'm really excited about this. I would love to have you help me out. And someday I hope I can return the favor and bring you on more things or bring you on everything. But I've had to have those honest conversations. And I remember like early on, dude, there were only a few DPs and colorists I'd work with, and they rocked with me. And they're like, "Don't worry about the rate. I know where this is going." And I brought them on to all my bigger projects after that. But
Yeah,
you have to have that honest dialogue, and don't be scared to ask those things.
right.
Worst thing they could say is no. It's okay. Ask the next person, and you gotta more importantly get them excited about your vision.
Mm,
Hey, I just shot this thing, whether it's for a sunglasses brand or my own project. I'm really excited about it. Look, I tried this technique, this technique. This is my vision. I would love to have you color. I think you would add a nice touch to this and help elevate my vision. You would help elevate my vision. You can literally steal that. Steal that, you know?
yeah, no, say less.
You see what I mean? But
Yeah,
like they'll know where you're at with your career, bro. Like not everybody's always winning, you know?
it's a fact. It's a fact.
And even if it's certain jobs that don't have much budget, but they are exciting to you, they'll understand, bro. Trust me. I still have this conversation to this day. I'll
Yeah,
sometimes do jobs that have like no money, but I'll do it because I'm obsessed with the client or the song or whatever it is. And I'll hit people up. Hey, look, this is not your normal day rate. I'm well aware of that, but can you do it? So that's the first thing. The second thing to building out your team is like, it's going to take some trial and error, dude.
yeah,
It's going to take trial and error. So even the guy you might have dreamed of working with, you might bring him on and he just might not be a good fit with you, right?
yeah,
It'll be shocking. You'll be like, damn,
yeah.
I've seen your work. I fuck with your work, but this doesn't feel right. Not everybody's going to be a good fit for you. So I'm going to tell you this. I've had to cycle through so many different people to even have a core crew that I do today. First
Mm,
ADs, DPs, colorists, editors. You're gonna have to just try it out, bro. Trial and error. And if they have the juice, you'll instantly know. If they don't have the juice, you don't have to call them again. It might not be that they don't have the juice in general. They might just not have anything that aligns with your taste,
right.
you know?
Yeah. Following on smaller budgets, a lot of times I will have to deal with very small crews, 1 to 3 people. What is the gear that has kinda made your life the easiest when working in small crews that lets you get just the best results?
A lot of people are gonna hate me for saying this. A lot of DPs and cinema snobs are gonna hate me, but you don't always need a cinema camera. You can sometimes get away with an iPhone. Sorry, y'all. I'm fucking keeping it 100. You can get away with an FX3, a small black magic. These cameras don't cost more than a couple thousand, if that. An
Right.
iPhone even is like what, $1,000 or less. It's different than when I was coming up because when I was coming up, we had the Canon 5D Mark II or Mark III,
You got the Magic Lantern
Magic
hack.
Lantern
Yeah,
hack, and we had the Canon Rebel T3i. I made it work. I milked the shit out of my 5D Mark III, bro. I milked the shit. That thing has so much. That thing was just
I still
used,
got one.
right? And it honestly, like those tools are still good even to this day. I think people obsess with gear a lot and a lot of people who are snobby and they want to do this and that. Like you don't know how many times even now, like I'll have conversations with my DP where I'm like, bro, we could shoot that B cam on a Black Magic. We could shoot that B cam. I've even pitched the iPhone to one of my DPs and he's like, what the fuck's wrong with you? I'm like, bro, it's minimal coverage. And you can shoot in RAW. It's not gonna be our whole video.
Right.
Like, we did a thing with, Drewski, Snoop Dogg, and, the other guy from
Right,
Soul
yeah,
Plane.
yeah, of
I
that campaign, I remember that.
so I produced that, my boy directed it, and we had, Alexa Mini LF, and we didn't have a B cam, but the DP last minute, because we were getting dialogue, he
Yeah,
wanted to get a B cam coverage. He pulled out his iPhone, shot B cam in RAW, and you
Was it
don't
just normal iPhone? Do you have, like, the little beast cage grip on it that
he
got the
had
little PL adapter?
0 adapters, 0 cages. It was literally his iPhone, that's it.
Mm.
He shot it raw, he filmed it, and that made the cut. Nobody knows it was shot on iPhone. You can watch that cut today, and you will not know which clips were shot on iPhone. I would love to show you and get your thoughts because you'd be like, you
Insert the clip here.
yeah, I will.
No, we are going to die. That's why it's could have died. We could have died. That's why it's named could have.
Just go slow, man.
The airlines.
Put this shit in autopilot. Just go, motherfucker.
I hate you.
I was on set for it was the new one of the new Young Thug songs. The ones with Metro is that I Told You.
Oh, yeah.
And so they they had mini LF, you know, with the master primes, and I think they had like a Fujinon zoom, and then the other they just had I think it was this other kind of photographer kind of video guy, and half the video was on iPhone the 0.5, really close up, skewed perspective, and those are actually my favorite shots in the video.
It's insane, bro.
Yeah.
So I feel like for you, it depends what you're shooting, but you could get away with the FX3 Black Match. You can get away
I'm pretty team FX3 for life. You know, the mini might look better, but you're gonna get more coverage and more shots with FX3.
I think that's important too, coverage, right? And that's another thing. When you have a limited crew, if you only have 1 to 3 people, you don't have a lot of hands to move all these lights everywhere and get these setups. It's going to slow you down. And then you got to
Yeah.
decide if I want the big fancy camera, if I want the big fancy lights, but I only have a couple people on my team, who's going to do all the labor? How are we going to have the time for this? And then you're going to trade your quantity of shots and your coverage for just having a quote prettier setup, you know?
Yeah, I definitely feel like I fight between just using a G Master autofocus lens for Sony, or you know, do I put on my PO lenses, you know, and just have a really nice look and manual focus, you know? I don't know, having shots in focus is really nice.
I know. Well, you can still get them in focus even without a fancy autofocus lens.
Very true.
You know, you don't need, I mean, it's easier, but you don't need it, bro.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
I've tried. No AC, handheld, follow focus. We're going handheld.
You can do it, man. Anybody can do it, bro.
Yes, man, those guys who used to do it used to be legends.
Even for us, like 10 years ago, like autofocus sucked on cameras. Not even
Yeah.
10 years ago.
Yeah, you would never use it. Yeah.
Bro, autofocus cameras are like so new, like good autofocus. Like it's only been around for a few years.
That's crazy.
You know?
Yeah. Kind of in the similar vein of kind of gear, is there like a particular piece of gear that's made you the most amount of money?
That's a good question. That I owned?
It can be owned. I feel like you're not a owned guy. I feel like you're very much so a rent guy.
I am. I used to own a lot of shit. I used to own, again, the 5D, et cetera, et cetera. I then got, so basically the 5D generation ended. And then in like the late 2010s, it was like the Sony A7S II.
Yeah.
Which I had for a little bit. That one, I don't know if it made me a lot of money, but it got me into a lot of doors. Those 2 cameras got me into a lot of doors with people, and they built me a lot of relationships, you know? And so indirectly, they made me a lot of money because they helped cultivate the relationships that I have today.
Right.
But directly, I mean, yeah, I don't really own a lot of stuff. So like, you know, it's
Yeah, you moved up pretty quick to the next stage.
It's not that I moved up pretty quick. I still had a lot of gear. I still shot, bro. I was doing this. I was in the trenches for years, and just it looks all of a sudden it looks like I fucking moved up quick. It's not true, you know. Once you get to a certain level, a certain budget point, you have the luxury and you have the expectation to shoot with a different kind of camera. Like it's harder to justify to a client when you have like $100,000 to shoot on a Sony FX3 or to shoot. You can, but their expectation will be, you know, like a Alexa or Red or the Venice or
Venice too.
you know, You get what I'm saying? So if I wanted to, if I got a job, that 6-figure job,
Right.
I could tell the client, I really think we should shoot this on an FX7, FX3. I really think we should shoot this on a Blackmagic because XYZ.
Right.
Even if it's an iPhone, but they're probably gonna be like,
It's not gonna make any rental cost is not that much more a day.
it won't make a dent as much as it would if it was like a $5,000 video.
Like,
you know?
let's be honest, our department is gonna be quadruple the cost of that.
Right, other departments,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a good question for this show. I own a lot of the stuff, so that's a different story. You know, Blackmagic cameras and these mics and the lights. So it's that's a little bit different. You know?
So I would say a year and a half ago, I dropped like $12K on a set of cine lenses.
Mhm.
I don't necessarily think I've made a monetary value off of that per se, but the gratification of getting to shoot with it has maybe made me not want to burn out as much and
Yeah.
just giving me more inspiration to use them and
Yeah.
have that. So it's tough because I don't always have a job that's going to let me have $500 to go get a set of lenses for
Yeah.
a day.
Right. You use them a lot though, right?
Anytime I get a chance to.
Do you rent them out at all?
I don't trust people.
Yeah.
I don't trust people.
That's
And
okay.
unfortunately, like when it comes to music videos,
No, I get it.
yeah, corporate, commercial stuff, any day, I don't care, you
Right.
know, but music video, people are tired, it's long days, no one's getting paid enough.
Yeah. Right.
Unless you know what you're getting on the actual ones. I mean, you know, your videos, everyone's getting paid. That's not the issue.
Sometimes.
Try to.
What's kind of interesting about what you just said is like ownership, right? You own
Yeah,
your lenses, they make you excited, and maybe you feel like you haven't really paid them off yet. But I feel like there could be a point in the next couple of years if
yeah,
you start to really elevate, you could just put that into the budget. I'm gonna rent my own lenses.
yeah,
Here's $1,000 for my own lenses.
and that's something I have to do in professionalism. I should be renting out my gear and stuff, whether it's I'm too afraid to raise my rate because I don't think they're gonna wanna hire me if it's only, you know, if it's that extra $500, $700 in the rate, who knows?
Do you know the influencer? His name's Alex Hermosi.
Sounds very familiar.
He's like a business guy. He has, sold a lot of successful businesses.
Yeah.
And he said, I'm gonna butcher this, but he said something along the lines of like, make your offer so undeniable that nobody can say no to you, right?
Mm,
And I think like for you or for any creative, we have to become super undeniable. It has to be a no-brainer. Like even with this podcast, right? I'm building a platform that's so undeniable that when people see this show, they're gonna be like, of course I'm gonna come onto the show. And so for you in like photography or videography, it's like when someone visits your page, they're gonna be like, of course I'm gonna go freaking work with this guy. Look at what he's done, right?
right.
And it's kind of hard to know when you're at that point, but the more you do it and the more you create for yourself, the more undeniable you will be because you're gonna have a voice. I said this before, you don't wanna be an artist for hire. You wanna be an artist, period, right?
Right. Yeah. No, that's a very, very big distinction for sure.
For sure.
Sometimes it can really feel like you are fighting and pushing against everyone and everything. I've been writing a bunch of shorts, trying to produce other projects, and you hit walls kind of at every level, hurdles, people maybe not enthusiastic, trying to find funding, all of that. What kind of have you done to kind of when you hit walls, and just when you feel like you're kind of fighting everything, how do you try to persevere through that?
Okay, there's different kind of walls.
Mm,
One is funding.
yes, that's a big one.
Pull favors, do it yourself. Straight up.
Yeah,
You may not always get the fancy camera lenses. You may not have the crew that you want, but generally, you can do almost anything with little to none. Or if it really needs funding, try to find a brand to sponsor. Try to find someone who's down to just invest and believes in your vision. That's really hard. It's really hard. It takes a lot of outreach, but
yeah.
it can be done, right? That's the funding side, right?
Rephrasing this, when you're kind of in the middle of really trying to produce or create a really big project, right? And just things are not going your way, how do you kind of reassess your situation?
So, like in the middle of a project,
To me, this feels like kind of big, more in the beginning, middle phase where it's maybe, it still feels like pre-production, right? Where things aren't fully locked in.
generally speaking, if things are not going my way, it's because I haven't done a good job communicating my needs or wants.
Okay.
And so I'll try to figure out where that communication gap is and how I can fill that gap, right?
Yeah.
Because you kind of have to be on top of people sometimes if you really want to execute your vision. And sometimes it sucks. It's a bitch. Like, I was just on a job recently and I had to like follow up with the producer 100 times for certain props that I wanted for art or certain things that we wanted for wardrobe. And like, just is what it is. Sometimes you have to over communicate,
Yeah. When you're coming up with a new project, right? Whether it's a script you wrote or a project you want to shoot or something, can you kind of take me through how you accomplish that from initial concept stages to carrying out pre-production to production?
Yeah. Are you saying a personal project or
Sure, let's do a personal project. Because would that differ too much?
I try to keep it the same, right? Because with
Yeah,
personal projects, we always feel like we can slack off on them.
right. You practice how you play, right?
Yeah, you practice how you play. And when it comes to a passion project, it's gonna be swept on the rug unless I treat it like a real job. right? And so I create a schedule for myself. And more importantly, I hit other people up to be a part of it because that'll hold me accountable.
Who do you hit up first?
I'm generally hitting up creative collaborators first, so my DPs and or producers and or maybe cast members, and sometimes if it's a character-driven story, right?
Right.
Generally DP first because DP and I work very closely and they're kind of like my right hand, and we shape the visual together.
Yeah.
They're an accountability partner. If I tell a DP, hey, I want to shoot this short film in 2 months and I want to drop it at this time, then all of a sudden it's on the books and we treat it like a job, and I think for personal projects, the only way you can get it done is if you hold yourself accountable. And the best way to hold yourself accountable is to tell other people
Yeah.
that you're doing this and they're going to be a part of it. And hey, it's now a job, an unofficial
Right.
job. Whether anybody's getting paid or not, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
There's
been so many changes within like the media industry and like tastes and what people want. What was the last time you had to do like a major pivot of like you feel like rebranding or reinvent or do something bigger?
2012 to 2016, those 4 years, I was doing low budget indie things, a lot of independent stuff, a lot of things that weren't paid, a lot of things I lost money on. And I had to break out of that mold to understand what a larger production looked like. And then I started tapping in with certain artists, a lot of rappers. I became like this rap hip hop guy, right? From there, I started kind of latching on to a female pop artist. And all of a sudden I become like the female pop director, right? And all this kind of culminated into me being this certain kind of video director that had certain, I don't know, a certain glossiness, right?
Right. You had an aesthetic to it.
Certain aesthetic, a little bit of fashion, but also a lot of like very digital and clean. And I don't know. I never wanted that. I just fell into it.
Yeah.
And so a few years ago, I told myself I need to start telling stories that are true to me, my culture. I made a short film, put that out, and I started realizing, okay, there's a power to creating for yourself, and it's okay to like take a step back. It's okay to take a few steps back
Yeah.
to take more steps forward, right?
Yeah, it's a marathon, not a
And
race.
it's a marathon, and there's going to be a lot of points in your career where you're going to have to start over. You're going to have to take a step back. You're going to have to be okay with maybe getting less work. You're going to have to be okay with your clients being like, what the f is he doing? You're going to have to okay with your perception changing.
Yeah.
But ultimately, you have to create a perception that's valuable for yourself. How do you perceive yourself?
Major.
Right? How do you perceive yourself will reflect on how others perceive you. But you can perceive yourself one way, but if other people can't see that, then you're never going to get the recognition or the eyeballs that you want.
Right.
And that's big for me, even to this day, bro. Like, I've been trying to break into commercials for so long. I'm still trying, dude. I only have a few under my belt. People look at me as a music video guy. People say, oh, it's crazy. I've worked on the biggest jobs with the biggest artists, and a brand will still look at me and be like, well, you haven't done really a lot of commercials.
They have to see it to believe it. And I find that crazy because the stuff you've done is mind-blowing, unbelievably clean.
Nah, I appreciate it, man.
Not digitally clean.
Yeah.
Just clean, smooth.
Yeah.
And,
I appreciate it, man.
it's crazy how if you don't have like I ended up losing out on like a Mitsubishi like commercial last year because like this is all simple content creator, they want it shot on an A7, but because I didn't have a specific thing showing footage of a person interacting with a car and just telling their story specifically around a car,
Right.
that's how it goes.
I think if the most important thing for any creative is like really determine where you want your career to go and how can you curate that experience for people when they see your profile or when they see your portfolio, right?
Yeah.
How do you create that experience? What do you want to be known for? What do you want people to hire you for? And a lot of times you're going to have to start over. It's going to fucking suck. It's going to be painful. Trends change. What agencies are looking for change. What music artists look for, what clients look for changes, right? And like the only way to really succeed is to just reinvent yourself, readapt, and keep creating for yourself.
Constantly keep learning new things all the time. It's do you have like this toxic I don't know. I feel like a lot of other people in the art industry have it where if you're not getting better, you're falling behind. That's how I feel a lot of the time.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, bro. It's true, man. Like you have to constantly challenge yourself, and a lot of people get complacent because they kind of feel like they mastered something and they end up in a really comfortable place. And that's great. If you can sustain that, that's awesome. But very few people can, and a lot of people just get burned out from it.
after a couple years, you start to get pretty disenfranchised with yourself as well, for
Yeah,
sure.
for sure, man.
Crazy. Well, man, thank you, bro.
Was that helpful?
That was amazing. Yeah.
I appreciate you, bro. Thanks for being here. It's good times, man. Thanks for being here, bro. Thanks everyone for watching. If y'all want to see more episodes like this with our friend Cilantro,
Yes, sir.
we're gonna keep running it back.
Send your questions. Send your questions. If you got questions, let it be heard.
Any creative, film, photo, I don't know, graphic design, artist. I think this is like very applicable to anyone, and it's
100%.
dope,
We're all
man.
freelancers here.
We're all freelancers, bro.
1099 life.
1099, baby. That net 30, you know what I'm saying? Woo. Hey, man, thanks for being here, bro. Help me out with one more thing. I need to give a big round of applause to ourselves.
Ah,
Thank you, my friend.
there it is.
Later.